We've been asked a lot about training certifications,
Yeah.
about do we issue them, should we issue our own ones, and really, what is it that we're providing? Is it training? Is it certification? What are we actually saying that we're doing
Yeah.
for the diver?
So in a nutshell, we're able to run training for quite a few agencies. So if people request a certain course, then we're able to give them a certification card should they meet the requirements for that course. Ultimately though, we have our own standards and our own levels and our well-recognized divers around the world who have made that grade. Okay, so the side mount essentials, for example, people know you're going to be a pretty good side mount diver, an all-round diver actually.
Yeah.
When you have that, so you may have got a PADI card, a TDI card, or INTD, or one of the other ones, right? From us, should you need it or want it. A lot of divers are coming to us because they already have certifications and they actually want better training because they realize that the qualifications they have, they don't cover everything. They don't mean everything, because you've got a certain technical qualification doesn't mean you're the best diver at diving to what that qualification entitles you to do, right? So we fill in the blanks really, yeah? And quite often we're seeing divers with certification cards that, well, we wouldn't certify that same person or say that person's good enough to have the card they have. Well, that happens 9 times out of 10 for us. And I don't think it's because we're just tougher. We want higher standards. It's just simply because a lot of technical divers, when we ask them to do simple thing, what we call a simple thing, following a runtime, planning for certain things that happen underwater, being able to make a static ascent with somebody else, holding a horizontal trim, staying in position, communicating properly. Well, these are the things that any technical diver needs to be able to do. And we're not seeing that with a lot of divers that come through to us. So the Side Mount Essentials really is one of those core courses that we teach that kind of, well, it shows up any weaknesses you may have. It highlights any strengths you have, but it will find the gap somewhere.
But I mean, are we saying that we're not certifying you to perform a certain kind of dive? Are we saying that this diver is able to make this dive now?
No, the Side Mount Essentials doesn't give you a certification to do anything different than you can already do. What it does is educate you and give you a lot more than that actually.
Okay. So, you talk about a diver that, let's say, does have some gaps, does have one certification, but let's say can't do all the things that we would like that diver to do. What should we do about that? What do we do about that? What do we say about the diver? What do we do about that in training?
How you handle it is the key really. I mean, if somebody's coming to you because they know your reputation, they want to train with you, the worst thing you can do is tell them that the qualification they have, I don't know who gave you that, the instructor you had didn't do what they should have done. You don't deserve that level. You've got a duty of care. A bit like a doctor has a duty of care if they see something happen, an incident happen, right? They can't just pretend they're not a doctor that day.
Yeah.
They're going to deal with it. They're going to get stuck in. You've got the same job in that point. Now how you handle it, that's all about your character, how good you are as an instructor. And what I've seen with you, Vas, as well, especially, is you have a nice way to approach that with people, because rubbing their face in something they cannot do isn't going to help them in your course. Right? They've committed time to come and see you. So you're now the guy who's got to take it on the chin, take all the stress. You can talk about it with your peers if you like, your good friend, that you had to work a bit harder on that course. The students don't need to hear that, right? They're the ones who just want to hear what they need to do. And they'll appreciate it. Once they hear about, well, actually, do you know what? I think half the time the students don't even know that it was not okay to not do an ascent vertical. They need to keep horizontal.
Yep.
You know, I think they just don't realize it because the requirements from that instructor were poor. So it's not that they did something wrong, they were just doing what they were shown to do.
I think that's a valid point, isn't it? It's about the fact that they're not really to blame. They don't really know any different, any better. And, you know, you're absolutely right. I think if they've had time feeling that they are a certain level, a certain kind of diver, how you approach it is important. And I think that, you know, I like to show the why behind something. If you take the vertical ascent, for example, well, you know, if I can give a good enough reason as to why that's bad, well, now you've got someone on your side. They want to do what you're doing because it makes sense to them. If they've never fully understood it or it's never been explained. So for me, I'm much more interested in saying, you know, we do it this way because we don't just say that's how you do it.
Yeah.
Because there are different ways, of course. But you know, if we talk about the ascent and we say, well, if you're vertical, well, how can you back away from your teammate? You know, how can you look around you? You know, how can you access your equipment if that's the way you are?
Sure.
You know, and it's the same reason. You know, why do we frog kick? No one's ever really explained that in a lot of courses that I hear about. Oh, it's the kick we do. Well, yeah, okay, but you know, so what I want to really try to do is to really show the way. And essentially people buy into it and yeah, okay, you know, you realize that there's a problem. And of course, yes, you're going to have a difficult conversation eventually, but I think if you can cover enough of that off in the training, you know, it's now your job to address as many of those shortfalls in enough time.
I think one thing you said to me was you need to lead them to it. You know, if they kind of make that decision themselves and see there's an issue and see there's a performance, you know, use the frog kick because it's the most efficient kick to use. It's the nicest for the breathing cycle. You know, once they understand why it is you're doing something and you can help them get there, they're not interested in the rest. And in fact, a lot of the time then they say, do you know what, guys, you're really good. My other technical instructor just didn't cover this. I wasn't even aware we should be diving like this. You know, I mean, I was already a tech trimix diver myself back in 99, 2000, advanced trimix as well. I didn't even know the back kick existed. I found out at cave level in 2007, 2008. I found out that people could swim backwards underwater. So, okay, things are a bit different now. There's much more information out there. But this is part of it. Some instructors just don't know. And if they don't pass that on, then the students don't know either.
Yeah, I mean, we talk about this idea of kicking a problem down the line. You know, that if you have a student, they're not doing, let's say, what you think they should be, but it's okay and it's just enough maybe to pass the level that you're thinking you're teaching at, that will now become somebody else's problem. That student will receive the certification, conduct dives that maybe they're not in the best place to get that done. And you know, if I think about that mentality and if I think about someone leaving one of our courses, you know, knowing that there were things that were left to get done, I mean, that isn't, you know, anything that we would do, let's say at work. We would never make it somebody else's problem. And I do think there's a little bit of that in the dive industry.
Yeah, definitely. And all I can hope for is that people watching these videos are just getting better education. And my goal as well is if students can get this information, they're going to make a good choice on their instructor. And when they find out the instructor's not covering these things or not understanding certain areas, we'll choose another one. You know, I'm a big fan of the fact that good people deserve the work. If you're going to work hard as an instructor, you're going to make good money. You're going to have good students. You're going to have a good following. If you're not prepared to do that, step aside, let someone else do it.